Hey, fellow traveler. Welcome to the Third Eye Awakening podcast, a show where we talk all about spiritual and psychic awakening, magic, the shift from 3D to 5D, star seeds, ascension, multiple timelines, multiple dimensions, the universe, the multiverse, the Akashic records, all the good things. I am your host, Amy Belair, and I'm so glad to have you here with me today. Okay, let's do this. Hello, beautiful souls. Okay, for today's podcast, I'm going to share with you a conversation that my priestess sister Amron and I shared over Instagram Live on our Instagram account, the Priestess Codes, just for the Priestess Codes, because we're opening up enrollment for round 2 of the Priestess Codes, which starts on Wednesday, September 22nd. And so we were doing a live conversation, which kind of, as I recall, was like super fire but all over the place. um, and I don't even remember fully what was said, but I know that it was a really beautiful and organic conversation. And I'm excited to share it with you. It was just a couple days ago that we recorded it, literally like 2 days ago. And since then, I have just gotten even more downloads, messages from the Akashic Records that are just next level. And so I know that a lot of you beautiful listeners, you beautiful, precious beings of shadow and light, whom I adore, I know that a good proportion of you are males and therefore will not necessarily resonate with the archetype of the priestess, but I really hope you'll listen because I share some of what has been coming through for me lately and the way that my own understanding of what we are experiencing together is evolving. And it's pretty wild. It's just honestly, the downloads just don't stop coming. It is wild. So I suppose part of this preamble ramble is that I hope that you won't be scared off or just won't choose to not listen because I'm saying that it was shared for the Priestess Codes. But also really, I also want to emphasize, and Amron and I mentioned this in our conversation, that for the purposes of the Priestess Codes, we are speaking to the priestess. And who is the priestess? The priestess is a woman, usually a woman, and it might resonate with some men, but I feel like it's probably mostly women who are predominantly in and awakening their divine feminine energy, who also are encoded with the priestess archetype, which is an archetype of leadership on some level and an understanding of the deeper mysteries. There's more to it than that, of course, and it's all more or less beyond my ability to articulate in a concise little blurb. But this conversation is directed towards the priestess, and yet it's not only for the priestess. It's not like the priestesses are superior beings and they are the only ones who are encoded with these giftings, these abilities, this technology this organic inborn technology, not synthetic human-made technology or something made technology. The priestesses aren't the only ones who carry this. There are many beings, but I was just given instructions to create this for the priestess. But this message is for you, even if you don't resonate with the archetype of the priestess, especially if you feel a calling towards receiving clarity, towards leading people, towards rallying, motivating, assisting. It can be for groups of people. It can be for individual people. It is what it is. There are some of us here that are really meant to help usher us forward. And so this whole podcast conversation is for you. And before I dive into it, or it's already been dove into technically before I let you listen to it. I'm just going to share with you a little bit more of what's been coming through for me lately. So it is the understanding that everything is unfolding in absolute perfect perfection. And it is so much bigger than the dramas that play out here on earth. The narratives that we are watching unfold, on one hand, they are a distraction. See, even like in 2 days, my understanding has evolved so much. On one hand, the narratives serve as a distraction. And on the other hand, they are here to benefit us because they are the vehicles, they are the stories that allow us to play out all of the energies that we need to play out. We are bringing things from the unconscious up through the subconscious to the conscious, and then transmuting it as we blend with the superconscious. So the narratives are a distraction when we buy into them, when we believe that they hold power over us. They do not hold power over us. Of course, that doesn't mean that we're not experiencing things unfold in our real lives. I'm not saying that the narratives aren't being experienced as real. I am just saying that, it's kind of like being in a relationship. Have you ever been in a shite relationship with somebody? Oh, and you know that it's just distracting you from your power. It's distracting you from your best life. Can you tell that I was once in such a relationship? It was when I was in the thesis year of my art degree, meaning it was my final year, and you're supposed to take yourself really seriously in your thesis year and create a body of work and be super pretentious about it and everything. But it was also exciting, and I was paying a lot of money for it, and I loved art school. And it's sort of an opportunity to bring together all the things that you've learned and creatively produce a collection of work that is the culmination of everything that you have, all the ways that you've advanced yourself as an artist over the course of your education. So it was really exciting year, and I was so excited about it. And I had been in this relationship with this, I'm just going to say it, he was a douchey guy. He was a douche. He was such a jerk. And I literally have no shade towards him anymore, but he was at the time just like he wasn't a cool guy. Anyway, and yet who was choosing to be in a relationship with him? This person here, the one who's talking to you right now. So I had been in this on again, off again relationship with this very arrogant person, and he just wasn't any good, and it wasn't a good relationship, and I wasn't happy, and I don't even know why I was in it, to be honest, but whatever, it was what it was, and I learned a lot of things. But I remember I was broken up with him, and I was feeling so good about it as I entered into this final thesis year. It felt so good to have all this energy and focus freed up towards my creativity. Oh my God, you guys, this is why I was with him, so that I could understand this at an embodied level. Okay, personal realization moment. I remember feeling really, really excited about what was ahead and having all this energy and focus freed up to put towards my creative work, basically, and my own life, and just injecting all of my energy into my own life. And then he came and I don't remember, he was throwing pebbles at my window or something. And he came and had decided he wanted to rope me back in and get back together. And I bought into it. I let him give me the whole song and dance, and I bought into it, and I got back together with him for yet another round. And obviously, eventually we broke up for good. I broke up with him, just saying. But I remember just this feeling of getting back together with him and knowing that it was going to cost me my thesis year. It wasn't I passed my year and it was fine, but it was so pathetic. The work that I produced was so paltry compared to what I could have done, because I was spending time with this guy, and I was, like letting my emotional energy and my creative life force energy and my power just be drained out to this crappy relationship dynamic. And that's what the narratives are, okay? This is why I'm telling you this. That's what the narratives are. They have, on one hand, the ability to serve as an immense distraction that just gets us all wrapped up in the, this versus that. I'm in this camp, this person in that camp. Oh, the bad guys want to make our lives worse. Oh, we're in biological bodies and we're susceptible to a variety of things that will lead to the death of our physical bodies. All these things. Oh, financial collapse. Oh. And I'm not saying they're not real. Like, that relationship was real. I was experiencing that. It was quite tumultuous. It was real insofar as I was experiencing it. And yet it was my decision to engage in it at that level. And that was the distraction. It didn't have to take away from my life. And I eventually could just, stop engaging in it, and it just dissolved, and I was able to walk away. And, he still tried to rope me back in, and I was just like, bored. Like, I've just been through this already. I don't care to engage in it any further. And that's the objective, is for us to get to this place where the narrative just doesn't, it's not interesting anymore. It's not interesting. What's interesting is what we can create as powerful fucking beings. What we can create with our life force energy, with our attention, with the things that we have, with the resources, the time, the inspiration that we have. And I know not everybody's in an amazing place in their lives. We have a lot of circumstances that are really challenging, but man, don't those just lead to a lot of breakthroughs and insights and inspiration? And aren't they just amazing fodder for amazing creative works? Like, let's just not feel sorry for ourselves, or at least let's not linger there. Okay, you can have passing moments of feeling sorry for yourself. God knows I do at 4 a.m. when William is insisting that I sit upright to nurse him. And I'm so tired. I have moments of feeling sorry for myself, and I have many times in my life, but lingering there is not beneficial. It's just not the part of our experience that we want to direct our attention to. Doesn't mean we can't acknowledge it. It's just that, there's so much. There's so much for us. There's so much available. Anyway, I can go on and on and on, as I always do, and I'm just going to leave it at that for now, and I'm going to share with you this conversation that Amron and I had. And if you feel called to the Priestess Codes Portal, we're only doing one other round this year. So we're doing round 2. It's going to be completely unique. Round 1 was a different configuration, and then we could feel what wanted to change for round 2, and we have things different. And I have no doubt it's going to be the same for round 3. So we don't have the luxury of time anymore to squander or use idly, or basically, like, we don't have time to waste feeling disempowered and buying into these bullshit notions of like what it means to be responsible and make responsible financial choices. And of course, I'm not encouraging you to spend all your money on heroin or, just things that really are not going to enhance your life. But I know that for me, a big part of my journey was going through this or breaking through this process of completely undermining my own desires and telling myself that it was irresponsible to do so, and that I'm bad with money, and that I can't do this thing that I really, really want to do. And I tell you what, when I finally gave that shit up and stopped listening to that programming that I had received, and I started letting myself follow the calling that my soul was directing me towards, answering the call of my heart and my soul and my higher self. Even if it seemed like illogical, my life has completely transformed. And if you are feeling called to this offering, please just don't hesitate. Just don't give your energy to that, because my friends, like, life is changing so fast. It is never going back to what it was. And if you're listening to me, if you listen to this podcast, I think you already know that, but I'm just going to reiterate it, because like on a level that I didn't even understand like 6 months ago, 3 months ago, a week ago, it is never going back to what it was. And the changes have only just begun. And these changes are like not just, human level changes. Like everything is changing. It's time to answer the calling of your soul. It's time to step into your mission. It is time to step into your power, no matter who you are, no matter whether you resonate with the priestess archetype or not. But if you do resonate with the priestess archetype, I am inviting you to step into it. I am inviting you to allow yourself to be initiated into the most profoundly transformative and meaningful journey you could ever imagine. And with that, I will leave you to myself and Amron. Hello, beautiful priestesses. Welcome to our live that we are doing here. Amron is going to be joining me very shortly. There she is. Okay. There
Hello,
you are.
beautiful. Hi.
How's it going?
It's going so good. Oh my gosh. I'm sitting on my deck in the sun. Heaven. I'm feeling so good.
Looks beautiful and sunny there.
Yeah, I got my puppy making a little bit of noise, but he's going to settle. Yeah, I'm really excited to do this with you today.
Yes, me too. Yeah.
And we don't really even know what we're going to talk about, which I'm super excited about also. But I feel like the timing is just really perfect right now for us to be on, just being present together in this place. Feels like a really opportune time to welcome in some of our next round of priestesses.
I agree. And I see Anna Karen Dreamcatcher 79, who is going to be in our next round of priestesses. Yay!
Welcome. Yeah.
Yes. Good. So I'm excited actually that we don't know what we're going to talk about, because I feel like that probably means that we're going to talk about everything.
I'm down. Can I just say what's like top of mind right now?
Yes.
I'm really feeling that what is top of mind right now is what's coming as far as elemental forces, galactic forces, energetic forces that are impacting humanity's evolution, Earth's evolution, our relationship with time. I just feel like there's this rapid transformation or up leveling happening right now with people, and I'm wanting to speak about it. I feel like it's going to help certain people feel grounded. It certainly helps me feel grounded to hear from others about what they're sensing or what they're seeing,
Absolutely. So I had talked about it to some extent on the last live that I did, but I don't remember how much I talked about. In the month of August, I felt like I describe it as though the frequencies jumped up an octave, like a whole entire octave at least. And I didn't anticipate that coming. Truthfully, I was just very preoccupied with having recently given birth. He's my little baby. He's with us here right now. So I wasn't really tuned into the energies and feeling into what was coming. Was in my own beautiful little bubble. And then like the beginning of August, I just felt this big ramp up, and it really threw me off kilter for a while. And it's taken me some time to integrate and understand what I'm feeling. But what it feels like, as I said, is the frequencies have jumped up an octave. And what I mean by that is like, it's not just the human conscious frequency. It's like the frequencies of the sun, the stars, the cosmos, the universe, the galaxies, everything, and it's impacting Earth. And so all of the Earth frequencies have jumped up, and this is not something that we have control over. Previously, I was thinking that this is about humanity going through a shift in our collective consciousness, which it still is, but that, we were being required to choose what we were going to do and what reality we were going to manifest. And what I've come to understand is that everything is ascending frequency wise, and we're along for the ride, and we can either participate in this or we can, resist it. Either choice is fine. It doesn't matter. It's happening anyways. It is happening. And so I can feel a shift in what's coming, what's on its way for humanity, and I can feel into some of how it's going to impact us. And what it has done is just driven home to me the urgency of stepping into our power. Like the messages I keep getting as I've, spoken to you and some others is like, we have to own the largeness of what we are. Let that human ego and that human self-doubt, just let it exist in the background, but just give no more fuel to it at all whatsoever, because we, the priestesses, and other groups as well, we are here to lead people, lead souls through this very intense and confusing time, as well as give the people who are, following us, the instructions for what to do in place of the old systems that are falling
Great.
away.
I want to speak.
Yeah.
Go.
Well, I was just going to say, because like, it's one thing to acknowledge that the old systems are falling away, but we also need to know what we're doing next. We can't just, like, it's a very, very insecure feeling to have what we've known be falling apart. But if we don't know where we're going as well on top of that, and it just feels like a blank void of emptiness that's going to replace it, that's even more intensely stressful.
I have a few things I want to throw in there just to sprinkle on top of what you were saying. And I guess I'm going to go backwards and say, no one's going to get a handbook or a guidebook of what to do and how to proceed. So when we speak about you being in the lead, what we mean is you being in tune with yourself and with the energies, such that you will be able to navigate what comes. No one knows what's coming. And what's most important is that you're able to just have your wits about you, have your sensitivities about you. That is the way you are going to guide or lead. And one of the ways that we are going to help you do that, in addition to helping you develop your discernment, there are a few ways here, is that we are going to help you trust your intuition even more. We're going to help you know without question. We're going to help you release self-doubt. And this is an energetic activation happening. We all have self-doubt. We all have our human sides. So it's not about hierarchy and how much work you've done. There's always more to release. We are going to support each other in this round of the Priestess Codes in establishing our capacity to hold information and our discernment and our sensitivity, our heightened sensitivity. So there was one more thing in there, and it will come. I was going to say that your choice is going to serve as the lead, the leadership, the guidance. It's you making choices for yourself from a place of clarity, strength, knowing. That choice that you make, whatever those choices are, I'm choosing to move out of my home, I'm choosing to change my mentor, I'm choosing to, etc., is what is going to demonstrate itself and show itself as a guide for others around you. You are giving others permission by taking the step forward. You're by leading the way, by leading your own life, by taking charge and stepping forward first. The other thing that I wanted to sprinkle on top of this was just a little more clarity around what does it mean when Amy says we have gone up an octave. That is such a beautiful and poetic term. And what I understand that to mean is that everything is vibrating faster now. Everything is vibrating higher now. We are elevating our consciousness. We are elevating our awareness. We are becoming aware of a broader purview, kind of like you're raising your body in the sky. Now you can see more of the horizon, right? Which requires a couple things here. It requires us to be able to release the baggage, release what's not supporting us, what no longer is helpful or of service to us at this time. It also requires us to be heightened in our capacity to receive input, because you're getting a new data set now, right? You're becoming aware, and that can look like, your clair giftings. That can look like more choice points. That can look like more information coming in. And again, goes back to, what are you going to do with all that new data? Do you have discernment to choose, to sift and sort? So anyway, all of this comes naturally. None of this is going to be taught to you like, oh, Amanda, you need this, this, and this. Although sometimes there will be drop channeling happening, and it will be very specific from your guides to you during the Priestess Codes, which is a huge, huge boon to joining this particular round, because Amy is a fantastic channel and clear medium who does all of the work to keep her vessel clear, such that she can derive a very, I don't know if finite is the word, degree of specificity. She can derive a very specific and heightened, poignant degree of specificity. It's beautiful. She, like, to the tune of guessing your hobby, or, not guessing, but intuiting and recognizing your, your birth sign, or your human design, or your natural propensities in your personality, and really just helping you establish trust that there is more to you than you. There is more to this than what your human mind can comprehend. There is backing that we might think we know we have, that we just forget and need to be reminded of that we have. There's so much more to you than this physical body, and we all know that our minds forget that every single day and need that reminder. So all of this is coming in. That's a mouthful. I just wanted to just vomit all that out and make sure I shared it now, because it just flowed out and it felt right, especially as we're starting this new round of the Priestess Code. We really want you to feel secure and understand, to the best we can offer, information about what's coming, what's happening, what we're going to provide here, and what we're all going to be stepping into together.
Mm-hmm. And so what all of this really looks like, to give you a sense, so it's not just these kind of abstract concepts, is that, so here we are living through this wild collective drama as it plays out. And we can all, most of us can see that something is rotten in Denmark. Something isn't, lining up with the narratives that we're receiving. There's something bigger happening. It's not just a strange time, and then we'll just go back to normal. Something really significant is happening. And the message that came through, that is now the Priestess Codes, is a series of transmissions that activate priestesses on levels that, like, I still can't even really get my mind around. It is life-changing information. And it's to activate all women and a small number of men who carry the priestess archetype in this life, to reawaken codes that they already carry within, that give them a piece of what we need to move forward, and to move, not just move forward, but first of all, move through this increasingly intense experience, but also what we are going to move into, what we are going to build anew. And so the Priestess Codes Portal is a live group opportunity to come into our energy, receive these transmissions dripped out through 8 weeks. It's 8 transmissions. And to be able to witness other priestesses and be witnessed, and have energetic work done on your behalf, to come into sisterhood, to digest and integrate these very dense transmissions. receive these activations. And basically, like, it's called a portal because when you step out on the other side, you are not the same. You recognize yourself because you haven't, you haven't left behind anything that is true for you. You have just stepped into the moreness that you are, but on like
Beautifully
a
put.
truly profound level. I can say, as the channel of the Priestess transmissions, that my life has completely changed. And yet I still temporarily live in the same place. I have the same partner. For me, it wasn't about big external changes, although for some people it can be in my immediate, sphere. It was about like really receiving these activations and magnetizing opportunities, people, like colleagues, clients, clarity, so many channeled messages, having my psychic abilities ramp up significantly, receiving, like having work done on me through the night by my energetic team. Like it has just completely transformed my life by bringing me into the moreness of who I am. And that's what this is intended to do, while you're in the meantime in the company of so many other women experiencing the same transformations, witnessing them, being witnessed. It's so powerful. It's so, so powerful. And it's setting us up to step into our leadership through these very intense times, like I said.
That was incredible. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for describing that. So, yes, you just unrolled it really beautifully and kind of splayed yourself open to show very specifically how this has affected or impacted and worked with you, right? That's powerful. Really, thank you. And for a number of the women from the previous round, they feel that the bulk of the integration is happening after
Yeah.
the 8-week experience that we have together. And we do a great job, we as the bulk of us, of creating this sisterhood community so that you have people to speak with going forward, because this is kind of unusual and off the path. Most of us don't have a cadre of colleagues to reference with this, you know? So I think it's really important that we have each other to talk about this.
Yeah, it's so important because the things that come through as we step into this, so really it's like your human self, you think you're just this human, you think you're just this person with a name, you were born in this place, you have this family or this lifestyle, this job, blah blah blah, and all of that is like true in the tiniest, most not significant way. And then you come into the Priestess codes and you receive these activations and you start receiving downloads, you start receiving clarity, you start remembering things that if you were to speak about it to the average person, they, first of all, it wouldn't land. You would feel totally crazy. You would feel totally invalidated. And that's what so many of us have done for so long, right? It's probably not the first time that you've ever received downloads or that you've had these memories come through. It's just when you have nobody to safely speak them out to, they just feel as ephemeral as a dream. They feel not real. When you have a place to speak them out and other sisters who are going through the same awakening, activation, transformation, it's like there's a landing place for it to reverberate with all the power and the magnitude that it has, and to feel it completely alter all of your cells right down to the DNA level, where you just start sloughing off old bullshit that means nothing and that you've been dragging around for, probably decades. And you feel this liberation and this alignment with your mission and your importance and your worthiness. And don't get me wrong, the human voice is still there. It's still there, but it just isn't running the show anymore. And you can understand and remember, like, oh, I'm here for a reason. for a reason, and there is work to be done, and it is the work of my soul. It is the work that I desire to do with every fiber of my being, and the time is now, and I am completely equipped to do it now. It's just like, it's the most amazing feeling, the most amazing feeling. But if you're trying to integrate all of that by yourself, it's possible to get lost in the weeds. Maybe not lost forever, but lost for a long time. We really need each other. There's something so alchemical about the process of witnessing and being witnessed.
It's so true. It's so true. So for me, one of the many things that transpired in my exposure to the priestess codes and the ascended ones who are bringing this information forward is that it really connected me with my higher guidance in a new way. It really connected me with my mission and with the bigness of my purpose. I've felt this strong conviction and strong desire towards certain forms of service within my life, for humanity, for people. First it was patients medically, then it was clients in a nutritional setting, and then it became women in a more spiritual development arena. And yet it's all the same. For me, it's all about enhancing personal empowerment, helping women primarily root in to our knowing even more. And my ability to cut through some of the human bullshit in interacting with the priestess codes became just like kung fu style. It was just like, wow, I can see my limiting thoughts, beliefs so much more clearly, and I can appreciate them for how they helped me in the past, how they got me to where I, have gotten to, how they've kept me safe. I can really see them for what they are, and not hate them and fight them, but just appreciate them and let them dissolve away. It's helped me so much in my work, helped me so much connect with the identity that I carry beyond my human self, and really cut through. Listen, Amy and I do this so differently. I feel like I'm the lower half of the, what do you want to call it, the body, and Amy's the upper half. She really hangs out in the channeling, etheric, cosmic fields. She can bring in information from other places in that regard so easily. I bring in information through the body. I bring in information about the body. I bring in information about earth, about plants, creatures, animals, etc. It's really tangible and tactile to me. My instructions for my clients are often going to be more physical and tangible and shamanic, if you want to say that, where we are using our bodies and our physical form to act as a bridge between the etheric, the emotional, the spiritual, and the physical. And my human brain just really had a tough time getting around the concept of identity beyond human, like the soul experience. I read books because I need that to anchor in that knowledge. I am fascinated by research and, study after study after study, talking about human consciousness beyond, and human awareness and human identity and the soul, etc., because I needed that validation to, again, anchor that knowing into this part of me, not just this part of me. So in interacting with the Priestess Codes frequency and having Amy by my side, I have had such an awakening to my bigness and to the bigness potential of the women I'm drawn to work with. And that's you, Priestess, you who are here on the other side watching this video right now. You are drawn to me as I am drawn to you, because we are here with a similarity in our work, in our origins, in our mission, or maybe all of the above. It doesn't matter, but we are all here with something bigger. And it's really cool to actually own it and know it, and not just know it, but know it and know it. Like, we're so much more than this human experience. We are so multidimensional. We are here from so many places. We bring in DNA from so many other places. We are hybrids. we're hybrids, and it's really just fascinating to leverage that knowing and to come to feel and learn and really know how we can wield these other capabilities and capacities. And yes, all we can talk about in the mainstream is psychic giftings, but that shit is real. There's so much more beyond that too, and it's not what mainstream would have us think that is. We're just here to be so much more, and the priestess codes, the ascended ones, have really just wafted that frequency of knowing over me in such an elegant way, as if they're, it's just a smoke curtain coming over me that enhances and like roots in and blooms that knowing. And now I have that knowing, and I'm still developing and furthering, honing that knowing. But we are here to impart that into you. And not me, Emron, but we are just purveyors and, providers and convectioners, effectively, of these frequencies. And they're going to turn on and awaken and activate those frequencies that are yours, that we don't even have, we aren't even privy to, and I think that's so important. We're not here to teach you much. We are here to give you information that was channeled in, but even that is open to interpretation, is universal, is speaking specifically and tuning, forking your activations within you so that we can all come to see and recognize and know what it is that you are coming to see and recognize and know within yourself. It's awesome. I mean, it's blowing my mind. I love it. It's exciting. It's very fulfilling.
Yeah, I feel like that part is just it cannot be overstated or overemphasized, is that we're not teaching you how to be us. And also, if you are drawn to us, if you resonate with the term priestess, if there's something here that keeps pulling you back, it's because you are on the same mission that we are, like Amron said. It will play out differently because we all have a different expression of our mission. But the overall mission is to, I was describing it to Amron before, it's like we're going through such a rapid ascension of frequencies. So like she said, everything is vibrating faster, higher than before. And it's going to create a lot of havoc and chaos for the 3D experience here on Earth. It's going to require, it's going to require a lot of dexterity and grace to navigate it and not get lost in it. And really, vibrationally, what we're doing is ushering souls through the eye of the needle. And it's like, I was a midwife. If you don't know this about me, I was a midwife and I just gave birth. So I have to relate everything to birth. But it's like the energy funnels, tighter and tighter and closer until the baby is pushed through the birth canal out into a new reality. And that's what's happening. So the eye of the needle is just like letting the intensity build and build and build, navigating it with, like I said, dexterity, with grace, with lucidity, being able to see through the illusion, more and more layers of the illusion all the time into what is really real and true, and being able to offer that vibrational alignment as something for other souls to calibrate to. So you don't necessarily have to teach or literally guide anyone through. It's your way of navigating these energies that we're experiencing that will, like, I love that you use the analogy of the tuning fork, because it is like we are the tuning fork that people can tune themselves to in order to move through this. And then on the other side, we can remember who we actually are with all of these illusions stripped away, who humanity is, what we are capable of, what we are desiring to consciously create, not under the thumb of all kinds of programming that we've received, but in our own freedom and our own sovereignty. What do we choose to create? So I also want to address, I'm kind of moving backwards through all of this, but I want to address the question of like who/what is the priestess again, because I also feel like it's always important to cover that. And the priestess is a soul who has trained through many incarnations to be able to navigate this time and to take a feminine leadership. It's not about feminism. It's not about anything political or ideological. It's being in your feminine energy and leading through your being able to act as kind of a lighthouse, a way shower, an oracle, for all the souls who are confused AF that they can come to for guidance. If you imagine, the priestesses that we see in movies and like literature, like the trope of the priestess, it's really this woman who has cultivated a relationship with the deeper mysteries of life and the universe, who is able to see, like Amron said, from the higher vantage point and be able to really actually know what's going on and navigate it thusly. Yeah, I could go on and on forever, but
I think that's beautiful. I think what I would want to add to that is that the material coming in from the ascended ones, as they would like to be called, when Amy was asked to channel this material, it's not coming just to people carrying the priestess archetype or template. It's coming into a number of individuals right now who are on Earth. And it's because at this time, this knowledge is ready to be unearthed and is being called for to participate in this moment of evolution. We're at a really different time right now. We're turning. And so we need to be poised, ready. There was one more thing. I think I really want to recognize that the sort of sludge that's coming off of you right now, priestess, women, individuals on this video here and listening to this podcast here, the sort of sludge that's coming off of us right now it's immense, it's intense, it's not the run-of-the-mill limiting beliefs only. Right. It's that and what we have been carrying from deep pasts or parallel existences, however you want to think about it. It could be stuff from deep, not just lineage even, but previous incarnations or parallel ones or karmic debts, contracts. Big things are having to get sheared off in order for this lightness that is happening, whether we like it or not, to happen. And one theory, just saying, is that a lot of these human deaths are happening right now as many individuals are unable to shear off. And so they're just dying off as a way to end and release the resistance and move along to the next phase. Just start fresh, I just wanted to speak to that. And we, while we can only be, as specific as we can be on a live like this, because we're speaking to a broader audience, when we get into the Priestess Codes Portal, we will be able to speak very freely about very clear current events, global, galactic events. Like, there's a lot going on right now, and we will not mince words. We will not sugarcoat anything. We will not avoid any concepts or topics. There's going to be a lot discussed here. It is not politically driven. It's way bigger, and Amy, I want you to speak about this. It is way bigger than what we think it is, what our human minds might see with our eyes and what the news might share. It's way bigger than what we are being led to think that this is. Doesn't mean it's way worse. It just means it's way bigger. So it's going to help us, I believe, put into perspective this new frame of reference. Thank you for the hearts. Hello, beautiful. So that we can see this differently, so that we can perceive this differently, and so that we can, again, poise and position ourselves from a place of strength, knowing, empowerment, confidence, because that is what is going to prepare us most. I don't even want to use the word prepare, because that kind of, that's a tricky word, right? It's a loaded word, but it's what's going to position us best for what's coming.
Yes.
We are ready for this. We can handle this. We are going to be fine. And it can be a little bit more comfortable or a little less comfortable. And we're aiming for more comfortable here.
Definitely. And yeah, I really like that you said that it's not politically driven, because that's the absolute truth. Like, it is so far beyond any political ideology. It's so far beyond it. I might just do it. I might just say the most recent information that has come through. I'm still working on like my confidence and speaking these things to such a broad audience. But what it feels like is that what's coming actually has nothing to do with humans. Nothing. It's so much bigger. It's like, there's already this concept of the precession of the equinoxes, which is like, I think, a 26,000 year cycle. It's something like that. It is something that feels like it has to do with the sun or an even bigger celestial body, and even bigger, whatever the sun is, bigger than that is going to alter the experience of life on earth significantly. And that all of the narratives that we have been dealing with are pure distractions that have been created on either side of any of the narratives, that have been created by a group of people who have known that this is coming, that it's inevitable, and who have tried to seed our consciousness with these narratives so that we will manifest it in a way that positions them on top. And even that, though, is like, I as I speak that, I no longer care. Like, I don't care. They're just trying to survive. They just see things from a lack scarcity perspective, and they do, things that I wouldn't do to try and survive. But that's all they're doing. None of it matters. It doesn't matter. The truth is that something that is coming to change the trajectory of life on Earth, it's so big, and so you can fall on any side of any set of beliefs, and we're not going to throw any fuel on that fire, and we're going to we're just not going to participate in any of that. So this isn't about any ideology. It's about understanding that, wow, we're going to go through something really big. We already are. And it really is about passing through the eye of the needle, which just to me means leaving behind all of that baggage, all of that shadow, all of that trauma, and being able to fine-tune our own vibration to be able to pass through that birth canal into what awaits us as sovereign beings in our creative power, with the understanding that we have capabilities that far exceed what we have come to believe. Even like you said, talking about psychic giftings is it's still a sort of an old paradigm way of thinking about it, but it's what, so many of us still understand, myself included. But it's just understanding that we have a sensitivity to information and receiving information, communicating information from so many different dimensions that we just have not understood. We have not understood, but we have this built into us. And it's the returning to that. It's the leaving behind of all layers of illusion. Like you said, not just limiting beliefs. That's part of it, but it's like all layers of illusion, and coming back to the truth, the beautiful, resonant, powerful truth of who and what we are and what this all gets to be.
Thank you. mainstream would have us scoff at all of this.
Yes.
And they have done such a powerfully effective job at creating disbelief in ourselves that I just really appreciate that you were able to speak that so eloquently. It is time for us, and I'm speaking to women because that's who I speak to, but you men out there as well, to claim it.
Yes.
Claim this, to claim this knowing, to claim these capabilities, and not hide it anymore. You know, it is beyond, like you said, the psychic, but it is the word of the day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it is a heightened sensitivity to information that is beyond our conscious awareness, and it is capabilities and importance, and we have other assignments than just what society would have you think you have. And it's been underground for a long time, and it takes a great deal of courage to step into it. And this, the Priestess Codes Portal, is a safe, protected place that is effectively in that middle ground, not quite underground because it's not a secret, but it is a safe place off the beaten path to be in that awareness, to develop it further, to come to find it if you just know you have it and haven't seen it yet, to really hone it if you already know you have it, or to just support others as they strengthen their knowing of it. It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. We need it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We like to say that we need it now is like, it could not be more true. And it almost feels like an understatement. Like the time is now. I said in the last live, the dress rehearsal is over. It's over. The time is now. There's no more of this, like, you know,
petty.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And I want to speak to something is that there is a reason that we've constructed it to be this way. We changed a few things from the first round, although the first round was perfect and absolutely amazing from as it was. We've changed a couple things. And the reason is because in order for you to step over this threshold into this portal and out on the other side, you have to be in your power. So we have to hold a certain bar for you because you can't receive it if you aren't in your power. Does that mean that you are in 100% confidence? No, I was not when I received the channeled transmissions, but I was in my power enough to confront my rational mind and my rational logical vulnerabilities and all the things that were saying like, you can't do this. Who do you think you are? And like, how much audacity, like who, you know, all that stuff, or like, you know, any issues around worthiness of having people enroll or receive this or what it was going to be. I had to choose my power and choose this mission. And so we've constructed it in this way to be the most nourishing, the most activating, the most exciting and spontaneous as well, like a really living container. But also that we require you to choose it powerfully for yourself in order to be part of it, because that's the price of admission, is your willingness to be in your power and like choose your power, not just in that one little moment, but choose it over and over and over and over again until you've completely recoded yourself to be in alignment with it as your default baseline setting.
Beautiful. We're here to reflect that for you, sister. Truly. Yeah. So good.
So I guess maybe the last thing that we can do is just talk about like what we receive, or like what this entails and when it starts, and just the sort of like, you know, 3D real things that people might want to know.
This sounds great. This is an 8-week experience. We start at the fall equinox, September 22nd. Hi, Mr. William. And we will be meeting 4 times live. We will be communicating all day, air day, anytime you want. You will have freedom to drop in by a multitude of mediums. And we will be engaging in an effective call and response. We will have the the transmissions administered to you, dropped in your inbox for you to listen to at your leisure, and we will have call and response, live interconnection, interplay going on at all times. You will have a priestess gift box, which is just a love token from us. And the items therein will be tools for you to utilize during our time and beyond. We will be gifting a really beautiful, it's a lengthy and intensive one-on-one session, kind of giving a year ahead forecasting for you in particular. It's very personalized, and we've brought on a beautiful priestess who might be joining us for the Priestess Codes experience to be administering that. What else? There will be just all sorts of interplay while you are absorbing and integrating the material, the transmissions. So, like I said, we'll be meeting structured 4 times over the course of the time. We will have drop-in channeling from Amy, which will be as specific as it wants to be for individuals, as well as general and applicable to the greater galactic society. You know, I mean, we've got the world is our oyster here. We just receive what comes in. You will have my integration support, hands down, and I feel like that's a very rich offering for this experience, and it's a mission fulfillment for me to support you all in this capacity. That's why I've been brought on. And we'll have sisterhoods and pods going forward to carry you out into eternity after this experience.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything else you feel that we need to add to this?
Yeah, just that you get lifetime access to the transmissions to be able to listen to them as many times as you want. They're really dense. Like, and this isn't tooting my own horn. I just did my best to articulate the very, very dense information that was coming through. And all it means, it's not meant to be intimidating. It's just that you can make repeated passes over this material and have it activate different things in you at different times. You hear things you didn't really hear before. So having lifetime access, I mean, I'm happy that I have lifetime access.
Me too. And I'm actually editing the material into a book form right now, and every stinking day I want to just pop on and be like, yo, listen to this, dudes, you guys, wait, no, did you hear this? It is so applicable, and I just want to speak to this. Amy, I want to praise you again for saying yes to the summoning, the invitation, the urging that you received on December 20th of 2020 to do this. This is very time-sensitive material, you guys. The material that is in these transmissions is applicable to us now. It is so applicable. Some of the things that were spoken are so poignant right now. It's crazy to me, and it's awesome. And I know that the relevance is going to carry forward for a certain period of time. You received specific instructions for 2021 to be the year that you administer this material, and I see it now. I see why.
Yeah, me too.
So it's just really awesome.
Yeah. And I guess the last thing I'll say before Mr. William makes it impossible to continue is just that also to reiterate that even though the group container is 8 weeks long, the sisterhood carries on for really, really, it's a deep bond that forms, and you get to carry it with you forever.
That's priceless. Well, that probably is our cue.
Yeah.
You love your baby boy.
He's fussing.
Oh my goodness.
Well, thank you everybody so much for watching and for listening, and we love you so much. And priestesses, we're ready for you. We are ready for you to meet yourself.
We're so ready for you.
Bye.
Bye.
Hello, beautiful being of shadow and light. If you loved this episode and you want more, you can join my new membership, Light Codes. This membership is the place where you will receive all the light codes that I am channeling on how to navigate the intensifying energies of this next phase of the rapid awakening and ascension of the human collective consciousness on Earth, but also all the light codes on how to step into our highest selves to activate our soul mission, to harness our magic and power as creators, and to manifest the highest timelines for ourselves and for the collective. To find out more information about light codes and all the ways to work with me, see the link in the show notes or visit amybelair.com. Thank you so much for being here with me on this episode. I appreciate you more than my words could ever say. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you on the next episode.